Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is Brown versus the Board of Education and segregation in public education in the South. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about Brown versus the Board of Education and segregation in public education in the South, Miss LWynn. Miss Wynn is an administrator at the Tennessee Historical Commission as well as a professor at Fisk University. And with Miss Wynn is Professor LBaldwin. Dr. Baldwin is a professor in the Department of Religious Studies at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. And of course, Miss Wynn and Dr. Baldwin, let me welcome both of you to the show this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And to talk about what we consider to be a very, very important topic, because this is the 50th anniversary of the celebration of the decision, Brown versus the Board of Education, that was rendered in 1954. And what we've decided to do, because we believe this to be a very, very important decision. As a matter of fact, I think it has been said that this is almost the most important decision since the end of slavery in 1865. But because this is the 50th anniversary of this great decision, we've decided to devote at least 5 shows to this particular event. And of course, what we'd like to do today is to talk about one aspect of it. We've already dealt with Brown and law. Now we would like to talk about Brown and segregation in public education in the South. And of course, let's start off, Ms. Wynn, by having you to give us some information about your background, your education, and Dr. Baldwin will do the same thing, and then we'll get into a discussion of Brown and education in the South.
Okay, I'm a native of Nashville. I've lived here all of my life. I was educated in the parochial and public schools of Nashville, and I received my collegiate and post-baccalaureate education at Tennessee State University. I have a master's degree in history and a master's degree in public administration. Over the last several years of my life, I've been employed with the Tennessee Historical Commission, where I serve as assistant director for state programs, and I also teach history at Fisk University. I've numbered any number of publications that deal with the African American and Tennessee history, African Americans in general, and women in history.
Very good. And Dr. Baldwin?
Well, I'm a native of Camden, Alabama, and I had a lot of exposure to what was going on during the Civil Rights Movement. I was educated in the public schools of Wilcox County, Alabama. I received my diploma from Camden Academy, did my college work at Talladega College, went from there to seminary, Crozer Seminary in Rochester, New York, received a PhD from Northwestern. And I've been teaching now for about 25 years. Most of my teaching focus in the areas of church history, African American religious traditions. And I've published several books on civil rights movement, most of which focus on the life, thought, and activism of Dr. King. So I'm very interested in all of the events surrounding the civil rights movement, particularly the legal side of the struggle, which is what we are here to talk about today.
Very good. And of course, Ms. Wynn, what we'd like to do today, as we indicated earlier, is to talk about public education in the South and the impact that Brown had upon public education. Let's see if we can have you to start off at least this first segment by giving us some information relative to segregation in education, in public education in the southern parts of the United States of America.
I think in order to understand Brown versus Board of Education, you have to go back to 1896 with the infamous decision of the Supreme Court in Plessy versus Ferguson. That case legalized segregation across the board, education, public accommodations, as I say in my class, you know, segregation from the cradle to the grave. It solidified and sanctioned segregation in the country. You know, the country's highest tribunal said it was okay to segregate people based on their races. So I think in order to understand Brown, you really need to understand what that case really meant in terms of national policy across the board. In terms of segregation, in education, African Americans, when they came out of slavery, one of the first things that they sought was in education, because they had been denied education if they were caught learning to read are learning to write, they suffered dire consequences, and in some cases, fatal consequences. So I think it's very important that we understand the importance of education in the lives of African Americans from 1865 forward
Very
to
good.
today.
And of course, as we make preparations for this first commercial break, Dr. Baldwin will come back and we'll have you to make some statements in reference to segregation in the South, after which we'll use that second segment to talk about segregation in public education in high school as well as in higher education. Of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. The topic is